like about your journey when it comes down to bundling specifically. Where are you at with it right now? Just so I know where we can get this thing started off. But
Honestly, with bundling and stuff, I gonna be honest, I've been just looking at it like for the past week or so, and then I came around
yeah,
to one of the videos on YouTube,
okay,
and then I saw Vortex. So then I tried it, and honestly, didn't really work. I mean, I didn't really lose money, but I didn't like get a successful rug or anything. So
gotcha.
I was
Now
just
I'm interested to
getting.
know when it comes to what you did. Can you walk me through? Maybe I would love to know like exactly the CA, just kind of understanding of what you did or what you might have not done right. Just to
Okay.
see what's going on because I'm pretty sure we can cook up a lot of stuff here. I know there's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about, but I just want to kind of get to the meat and potatoes, as they say.
Okay. I can go on Vortex and see if the project's still there so we can look at the CA real quick.
Okay, sweetness. Do you
Okay.
want to share your screen or do you want to?
Yeah. 1 second.
Okay,
I'll do
yeah,
it in a
take your
sec.
time.
Let's go to my projects.
Okay, let's do it.
One of them is I didn't do again because I realized I did two of them. Didn't I was doing something wrong, so I just held myself back. So the first two are
Okay,
the ones I tried, and I tried just like cloning, but I don't know, maybe I did like coins that weren't hype enough, or I'm not sure, but we
okay.
can go on it.
So let's talk about the first thing before we talk about actually the migration or the cloning of it. Let's talk about the process that you did to fund these wallets and how many you went in with, and just kind of like walk me through that so I can
Oh, okay.
understand.
I had a dev wallet, and then yeah, 10. I think two bundlers, and then 8 snipers. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of just doing whatever. I didn't really know much, so.
Okay, I got you. And so so it sounds like to me you had essentially give or take what 19 wallets. Is that so? Is that about right ish
No,
or
should be
12?
11.
11. Okay, 11 wallets. All right, so 11 wallets, one dev, right? And so basically 10 other wallets that came in with that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then let me know when it came to actually the funding process. How did you fund them?
Well, for the dev wallet, I just imported my Phantom wallet that has my Solana in there. And then from there, when I like created the other 10 wallets, it just said send this amount of Sol, like whatever I selected,
Uh-huh.
directly to this account. And then it just like
Right.
basically mixed them out.
Now, when the mixer, that specific mixer, there's two essentially options in that mixer. I'm just curious to know, did you use the mixer functionality or the Vortex mixer? Because they have two different separate meanings to them, and not, maybe people that are coming in, they have no
Um,
idea.
if I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember which one I
You
pressed.
know what? Let's see if we can probably jog the memory by simply going into wallets on the top right of your project file. So click on wallets there, and then from there, let's just go ahead and click on like fund right there in the middle under the and then yeah. So right there, it would have been potentially the first one or the second one. You think
Fast unmapped. I think I pressed the first one.
for all
Yeah.
of them or for
I
just the
yeah,
dev?
when I sent it. Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I said for all of them, like for all the wallets you did that, or for just the dev, or none
For
of
the
them.
dev, I just imported a wallet. So I already had the like set amount I wanted from my Phantom wallet, and then
Okay.
the rest, the 10 like I generated,
Uh huh.
pretty sure I pressed Vortex disperse, and then I just sent the money or the
Gotcha.
Solana.
And when you did the disbursement, from my understanding, right immediately you probably attacked and created. When I say attacked, like you bought the project like as soon as you basically did the mixed funds, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So let me explain to you what's happening optically. That way, it'll help you understand how to make yourself a better, bundler in the future. Because the thing about it is this: because it's 2026, A lot of instruments on the other side when it comes to traders have been created to help them to determine whether they want to buy into a particular project or not. Back in 2024, things such as Axiom, things such as Bullix, all these, Padre, for example, they weren't
Mhm.
around. So, it was easy to literally come in with 30, 40 wallets, especially if they're new with no wallet history whatsoever, and to be able to bring in bids. That was the easiest thing. And what you're essentially doing right now is the mechanisms of a 2024 Mindstate bundler, which unfortunately will not work that well in 2026. But I'm gonna tell you why though. So
Okay.
there's a few things that's happened here. The first thing happened is when you create those 10 wallets, all right, from an Axiom perspective, that as soon as you buy from in the charts, they automatically have two things that's attached to them that's bearish. One is going to be specifically a leaf that associates that wallet to being a very new wallet, which is 24 hours, no history to it. Traders see that, they automatically know that you're probably part of the dev, So that's one.
Yeah.
Two is that because you just bought that particular wallet, I can actually show you rather than tell you. Let's show you verbatim. If you can, while you're on the screen with me, let's go to pump.fun real quick. I'll show you what's going to happen. Well, you'll be amazed when you see the optics from a trader perspective, and you'll be like, oh shit, this is what they see. uh,
Yeah. You want me to do it,
yeah,
or are
yeah,
you
you can do
gonna?
it. Go ahead, just go to a new
Okay.
tab while we're there, and let's go to pump.fun. You know what I'm saying? And I'll show you what any contract that has somebody in it, like maybe that one right there or whatever it may be. Yeah, perfect. Now scroll on down to the actual holders, right? And it'll be all the way down where it says holders right there. Yeah. Perfect. Now, if you click on any of those holders, we'll click on the last 3 or 4. I'll just give you an example of what's happening because you came in with 11 wallets, so the first 11 are going to show automatically. Now, what's going to happen is this. Now, this is what I'm probably guessing what happened with you. For one, your wallet was set up as a profile that was default, didn't have any username to it, nothing like nothing that made it look like it was something like this person where there was a Solana balance,
Yeah.
multiple tokens, right? So that's one, right? That's one bearish thing. The second bearish thing is that I'm pretty sure that when you did the actual deposit of the Solana, you only left enough for transaction fees just to sell your positions to basically get back to Solana, right? You probably had like 0.0403 left in there,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So there's another that's another round two. You strike two. Um, and that makes it again look very bearish. Like, why is this guy only holding like a little bit left just to sell out on me, right? And then the last thing is that because we don't see multiple coins, even if they do have zero balances, such as like this guy that has Ocean Card and Side Ship or whatever it may be, there's no random tokens here that make you look like that you were already in the trenches, kind of like getting dumped on, rather than just a new wallet that's like basically alpha all of a sudden. Now,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. What you're doing theoretically could work in a sense where like you have, let's say, an actual person that's a celebrity that wants to fucking pump a coin. They have no idea how to dev. Then yeah, fuck it, a fucking new wallets all day long because you're protecting that particular sniper from getting into knowing that you got a very prized demand person on stat. But it's different when you're not doing that because you're creating random coins at this point, right? So I just wanted to give you the perspective before we jumped into the whole other things on production, because the pre-production is honestly way more important than the actual production, because if you don't do the pre-production, you're not going to get any bids unless you have, again, a influencer or someone that is very highly celebrity ties and they want to buy his stuff anyways.
Yeah. Okay. I understand what you're saying.
Okay, so now before we get into production, I gotta go over a couple more things. So we gotta go back to Vortex real quick, so I can show you some other things that were missing in your workflow. So
Okay.
when you remember when we went over the wallets, so we click on Funder real quick. Actually, Fund. So when click on Mixer for me, I'm gonna give you an understanding of what this does, and then click on, let's say, just do like One Soul or something. We're not gonna have to actually do anything. I'm just gonna show you the difference between these two and how they act. Now, this is going to be used for your dev wallet, by the way, more often. Now, I would recommend you've used this method, which essentially is funding a particularly new dev wallet, then essentially waiting on that for a couple of days and then firing off. And also, you're funding it in a specific way. Let me show you what's going to happen. Like, click any wallet here, like the dev, for example, right there. That's currently got the 3.21 in there, and then hit next.
This one, the 3.2 is the Phantom wallet I have. I just
That's fine.
imported it. Or
I'm
okay,
not
it's
gonna.
fine.
We're not gonna really fund it. I'm just gonna show you what's gonna
Okay, okay.
happen. So when you hit continue, I want to show you what happens when you hit continue. It's gonna bring you to a new screen here where it's gonna ask you to select a particular DEX. See that little blue icon right there? So you click on
This
that
one.
little blue icon, you're gonna see multiple. Yeah, there we go. Now this is the catch here, right? In order for someone to be able to put their Binance actual exchange in there, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but Binance is KYC. You know, it's like the wallets that get funded with that, people are kind of bullish on it because they know that that person are potentially logged into his KYC Binance account in order to fund that wallet. That's what makes it more like, oh, this dev is kind of quote unquote based on a blockchain. You see what I'm saying? But the
Okay.
thing about it is they have basically someone, which I think it's BH who owns Vortex. He's basically using his own like business or slash personal KYC, or maybe someone else he knows, who knows, but he's using that API into this particular Vortex app to allow you guys to essentially use his mixed KYC funds. So it doesn't come off as it's coming from you, but the world, when they look at Axiom and certain things, they say, oh, Dev was funded with Binance. Oh, so he must be based. You see what I'm saying? You see how that kind of correlates?
Yeah.
So when in the past, you should have essentially used just the mixer just to fund the dev for the very first time, potentially with Binance. I mean, there's other ones such as like MexiC, other things are there of that nature. But Binance is one that people usually like, love. But beyond that, you would send the funds there and then hold that there for like 24, 30, the more long, it's like the dev wallet is like wine compared to the other ones. After 24 hours of the other ones, you can fire those off. Then they kind of blend into the society of like traders because they don't have leaves to them. However, the dev wallet, the longer you wait on that thing, it's like literally like wine. The more bids you get, like when you get a wallet that has like yours, for example. But the problem with yours, it wasn't funded through Binance. So if yours was funded through Binance and it was like 7 months old, all of a sudden you do a project on Pump Fund, the snipers are going to track to that a lot more than some random wallet that they just got 2 months ago. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the reason to use just this specific thing. Now that you know that, we can go into more of what happened when it comes to the actual deploy. But this part, if you don't have this part, then you're going to lose before you even start, basically,
Okay.
So the second thing now we should go into is let's go actually back into the project, and I want to kind of get a sense of like what you did as far as volume goes, because at the end of the day, volume does bring in attraction. And I'm just curious, did you have anybody buy into the project at all, or was it just these all just transaction fees that appeared?
This one, I think I had like one sniper. It was like a very small buy, and then it just like sold after a minute.
Gotcha. So you basically didn't have very many people come into the project, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And for the most part, it seems like you probably just lost on transaction fees, because I see just like there was 0.05 essentially that was lost there. You bought for 1.4.
Yeah. 0.05. Yeah.
Okay. So from my understanding, let me know if this is correct. When you launched this project, it seems like to me that you did a 10 wallet snipe. You bought in with a dev and then it sniped with 10 wallets at the same time. Is that correct?
I bought it with the dev, and then the other 10 wallets also had like equal, like decently equal amount of Solana in each as well.
Decently equal amount of Solana. So wait, so you bought in all at the same time though, right? They all
Yeah.
just okay, gotcha.
Yes.
So that's what it seems like. Okay, so then from my understanding, before you did sell, you just saw like one small, well, not small, but just a green candle just sticking out, basically, right? When you looked at your charts.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the thing. You came in with 1.54. Like the amount wasn't like is not bad whatsoever. Matter of fact, it's actually pretty good, because I would say anything under 3 SOL, sniping under 3 SOL is about fine. Especially when Solana's getting higher and higher, you might go lower and lower when it comes to that amount, but your amount was fine. However, beyond the pre-production that we just talked about not being fine, the other thing that was another strike that I now in this production world is the fact that there's no volume to this particular contract to actually bring people in continuously. Now, what I mean by that is, have you, for example, have you ever seen like P&L cards, and especially with bundler particular like P&Ls, where you see like 30 soul invested, like 40 soul, 10 soul, 20 soul invested, and then they have 4, 5, 10, 12 soul profits or something like that. You've seen that before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to be aware, because a lot of traders, when they get into this bundling game, they feel like that is like literally just for verbatim, which is not. It's actually a trap. See, what happens is, if you take that 3.21 soul, for example, right? I'm gonna give you an example how this works. If you take this 3.21 soul, you split it up into, let's say, 5 wallets, and then you buy from those 5 wallets every 2 seconds or one half a second, let's say 0.25, but you sell after that 2 seconds, you sell 100%. You do it again, 0.25, sell 100%. You do a point two. What's
Yeah.
happening is your P&L card is continuing to rise on your profits investments, even though you're not staking more than you actually have. You can literally have 3 soul, but say invested 330 soul, because you're literally going back and forth, bringing volume to the contract, and the people are looking at it like, whoa, what's this? What's this? And it attracts real bids to stick. So when real bids stick, it's a matter of you holding your positions to see if another bid comes in and they stick. And then it just goes on. So what you're essentially doing is creating like a volume bot. This is why on the right side here above sell all, you'll see a little icon above there. It's like a little taskboard. You click on it. It's hard, maybe hard with your finger, but yeah, there you go. Add task. And then you go, so you have volume here. So essentially what happened is, as soon as you bought into your positions, ideally, like those wallets that were not the dev, could have sold and then continued a buy range of point whatever to point whatever with delays to them. And then when they came in, you'd just immediately sell them. You hit 100% sell, 100% sell, but they just continue to rotate as like a volume bot. And this continues to bring in more P&L as far as you're invested, even though you're theoretically you're only working with 3.1 soul. You could say 10, 15 soul invested, even though you're only working with 3. But the idea is to attract more people to see the contract, because you want clicks on your contract to see, okay, what's this website? What's this meme? What's this narrative? You see what I'm saying? See how that goes there?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
coming from a trader mind state, though, you're thinking, I need to actually come in, buy, hold particular amounts, and then just let it settle go. Then that's just not how the game works,
Okay.
Does that make sense? Just before I continue on.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. So beyond that, you have buy. The difference between buy and the volume. Click on buy real quick. There's also a cool thing when you get like to a point where you're comfortable with the particular settings you have. You could just hit save preset, and then that way it's just always there to rock and roll with you. Save it, whatever, name it, and then you're good to go. But ideally, you want to buy your positions, block, and that sniper is fine. But if you had like 5 or 6 more wallets that could be used for these create tasks, that would be ideal, because then you came in with a position 1.87 or whatever it was, and then these volume bots will essentially bring in FOMO, which is bids. Those bids will stack up to your actual block zero, snipe ins, to the point where you could either sell 5%, 10%, or just 100% out. A lot of times, because it's G season, people tend to do 100% out when they're 2x up on their 1.81, but they all got them through the volume of it, and so when you do the math, honestly, at the end of the day, you look at it, even though the P&L card might say 1.5 or 1.8 soul profit, if you do the math of the transaction fees alongside with what you might have spent on just the actual deploy after you get your creator fees back, because even your volume tasks are gonna be percentaged out on your creator fees. You might have been at like 1 soul profit for the day, but still, it's the profit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
this essentially is the similar to volume task, whereas buy will be kind of essentially setting a full balance amount rather than just particulars. Like, so if you're trying to basically stagger buys in, you can have 2 different tasks set up. You can have one task set up specifically for volume, and obviously, again, volume will buy. You have to control the sell, though, so you have to hit 100, and then just continue rotating that. However, if you had another task set up, let's say with 3 or 4 wallets, and you call them, let's say, stagger, this could essentially be something where you could buy more positions of percentage of your token without being traced. So you would basically say, for example, I want to stagger in like 5 SOL between like 10 to 20 seconds. So every 10 20 seconds, it's gonna just buy 1 SOL. And as you know, let's say for example, you want to bond this project. For example, you know you want to bond it, but you want to have a little bit more. Regardless of what happens, regardless if someone buys them before you, and is your block 0 exit liquidity, or if you're just buying out after them staggering in, you're all gonna blend in as like one, rather than just like everyone's buying up for a quick and it's not an organic play type shit,
Yeah.
So that's what that buy task is for compared to volume. Volume is a loophole. Buy is more as a stagger play, and yeah, again, you could have safe presets as that too. Like you can name that as stagger, for example, and then boom, you're good to go. Again, all this is in conjunction to literally the pre-production we talked about. So if you don't got that pre-production, everything we're talking about right now is like does not exist. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. So you have to have like A plus B equals C in order for profitability to be, like 100% like a business rather than a gamble. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And for the
yeah.
I'm sorry for asking him, but the volume test, you said like here has like the buy settings and stuff, but for like when we like let's say up here and the volume test is already set and everything, I would have to press sell 100% myself, right?
Yep, that's correct. Now the way
And then the buy it would just do it itself.
right, it would buy itself, but
Okay.
it won't sell itself. That's just a nuance that particularly this Vortex does not have. However, not to shill, but like I believe CoinWave had just added this auto sell functionality within theirs. PumpKit as well has now the auto sell functionality in theirs, so it doesn't require you to think about sell. It'll do it for you. There's a couple others that are doing that, but it's probably just some type of thing with the mechanics of the programming or art. I don't know what, but it is a new feature that some have, some don't. But most of the original OGs, they're used to, because things getting easier with AI and shit. So the OGs are usually just doing the volume bot and 100 out, because at the end of the day, by doing that themselves, they have more manual control to paint the chart too. Think about it. Like if they see a buy coming in, they might decide to hold off on 100 because that's more weight on them pulling off if they want to nuke it.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah. But yeah, beyond that, I would also set up like within the actual task settings. If you're using Vortex here, if you go to back on that little icon, you can create a P&L auto set. So that way, add task, for example. And if you scroll to the bottom, it says supply guard, click on that supply guard. And it works well with buy, but this is basically where it'll essentially stop the task immediately as soon as a certain amount of supply. So let's say it starts buying, you're doing the whole sell thing. As soon as let's say if you put it like for 50%, as soon as someone comes in and apes in, it'll stop immediately the task, and it'll give you the option to like, do you want to continue or do you want to sell all on these guys? So that's a supply guard.
Okay.
And the same thing with buy too. It's just this different functionality. Like I say, one's the more stagnant thing where I'm grabbing up the supply contract war, and one is more like FOMOing fake volume. Again, the fake volume works, and I can't say this more and more harder and harder enough, but like pause. But like the fake volume is definitely what's needed, because when people click on those buys, those wallets, and they see that these contracts again are holding like 1-2 SOL each, that's bullish. Like, oh, I don't know if this is a volume bar or not, or this is a guy that just want to buy. Like it confuses the shit out of people that really wanted to look at this project. So I would recommend any type of volume bots you do, really spend time in pre-production getting those to look like real traders as much as possible. Even if they're just showing holding like 1 or 2 SOL each, you got to remember this Solana is never going to be used at all. It's just to show off, to make it look as if this particular trader has money.
Okay.
One of the biggest things in this is making sure all your wallets look more than they're actually using.
So let's say how much more Solana would I need if I want to run like the volume test? Or would I just use the same amount?
Yeah, you can
just one of the wallets.
Yeah, you could theoretically use the same amount. So Some bundlers work different than others. Like this one right here requires you to have Solana in each of the wallets dispersed. That's when we went to the fun mode in the beginning to do the whole like Vortex mix, which is again for specifically like the bundle wallets, not the dev. However, there are bundler companies like, for example, Lunar, LUNR, and it's kind of funny because their logic is to have one particular funder wallet and it use all the transaction fees from that. So even if all the other wallets are at zero, it'll just pull from the other wallet, which I like that logic because I don't gotta keep dispersing, you know, and then you know. But with Vortex, it is what it is. So I'm just kind of giving you an example because I got my hands on like almost every bundler alive. I'm like the hub central of bundlers. But yeah, there's always it's just like the difference between jumping in a fucking Ford compared to a Tesla. They both drive, they just drive differently.
Yeah, that is true.
Yes, sir.
And those other bundlers are most of them you have to like pay for it monthly or
So I'm glad we talked. This is a very very important discussion right here. This is where people like I didn't know about that, but okay. So this is the thing. No matter what, Vortex, any type of web bundler has its a disadvantage and advantage. The disadvantage is just due to the fact that your private keys are ultimately online. Like anybody can essentially hack and get to this database and maybe decrypt if they can access the web database. It just is what it is. It's up to the developer to create these safety measurements to protect your assets, to protect your money. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Vortex has had a situation in the past. The owner will even say, tell you guys they did. Damn, I didn't know Soul's at 144. That shit is booming, right? But yeah, he had a situation in the past where he got hacked, right? And he did, and the reason why you're actually on Vortex right now, and the reason why it didn't get flooded out is because he had to pay, like 300-400 Soul to people that were lost on their Solana, and he didn't do it. It was someone that he didn't know was a hacker, and so he had to protect his shit better, and then he's paid out. But this is the only time in DeFi where I know a particular bundler company being like an Allstate. They're actually, refunding. But 9 times out of 10, that doesn't happen. So that's why people tend to use bundlers that are not web, such as fraud with tools such as Lunar. Now, to answer your question, they are lifetime based, where like you pay for like a specific lifetime subscription. I mean, lifetime price, and then you get this particular service where you have a software that you download on your computer, and then you have to use a node, which is something you can buy. I have nodes too. I bought one off of Magic Eden, but I have a node if you need one rented. But you have a node that you get that's actually whitelisted to your IP address that you run on your computer, and boom, you have everything on your computer. There's no private keys at all shared on the web, and that's why people that use non-web bundlers would do that. If they're working with thousands of dollars, they want to feel that no one can have access to them, regardless of a community saying how safe it is. And unfortunately, that's what it is. When it comes to web, though, you get pros though. The pros of web though is that beyond obviously the cons of course is a private key thing, right? But the pros is stealth community. You don't have to worry about updates because it updates. I mean, the developer updates their shit, simultaneously. So when everyone updates, everyone gets it at the same time. It's mobile. You can be anywhere in the world. You don't got to worry about nodes because they have their own nodes. So there's a lot of different like pros as far as what they can provide. But honestly, it's up to you to decide if the pros outweigh the cons and vice versa.
Okay.
Just so
How
you
much?
know.
Just like curiosity, how much would it be to get one of the ones you're talking about?
So, Frog with tools, I believe. If you would open a ticket, I can get you a special deal with them because I've been knowing them for a minute. But that's between like 4 to 6 Soul, for the
Okay.
lifetime, and I think Lunar is in beta. I don't know if they're charging though. I think they're in beta, so you just gotta be approved to get into beta. But I double check on that. But I know for sure they're gonna be charging like 15 Soul when they get launched, like for sure out. But if I could recommend any of them, I would just recommend honestly Frog with Tools because I've been using them for like the last 9 to 10 months, and the guy who owns it, he's based, he's able to get on a VC with you, talk to you, so that's always cool. So
Okay.
yeah. So yeah,
Uh,
I can always put you in a room with that in the ticket if you need be.
okay. Yeah, I would be interested in that. I just want to like get the hang of it before
Absolutely. And
maybe like
honestly, we talked
Yeah.
about pre-production, we talked about production, but another thing that we haven't really dived into is just honestly the project details. Like I know I see right there it says MX100, which I'm assuming that this was a particular token that you did around Christmas time, right?
Yeah, it was just kind of I just kind of cloned it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But
And when you cloned it, did you not create a X community as well?
um, I don't think so. No.
Let me give you an understanding on what that is or how that helps out. So when the person for this thing, if everything I taught you with the pre-production and the production will not make sense whatsoever, like all three of these things have to be aligned. So if that all those two things will not make sense if the third thing here, what I'm telling you, the actual vamp, it doesn't work. Like for example, if you vamp a project and you do not make an XCOM, and people go into Pump.Fun and they see your new token and they see that this XCOM that's attached to it is from this old particular CA, they're gonna first of all think, well, yo, this is a scam. You know, it's like there's no way to me for this particular project to work because it's already pointing to another XCOM that is not this particular CA. See what I'm saying? So that's one. Two, when people are on Axiom, when they're looking at new pairs and pulses, all they do is literally highlight your token, and it pulls up the XCOM and it pulls up the name of the person who created the XCOM, like literally on an Axiom. And if it says created like 30 hours ago or 24 hours ago, why the fuck are they gonna buy it? Because they're looking for an XCOM that was created like 5 minutes ago or 2 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? That's how Alpha tells Alpha that this is a real project, or at least on the lines of a real project. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're vamping stuff, the ideology of vamping is to vamp the profile picture, or maybe take the profile picture, bring it into, for example, Google Banana, which is are you familiar with Google Banana is, by the way?
Oh, no.
Okay, Google Banana is like Photoshop on crack. You can literally use it. Type in Google Banana on Photoshop on Google. You can literally drop any image you want and tell it like, add this or delete this or remove this. You can literally just modify. So that image right now that you have of that pill with the Santa hat, like you could say add boobs to the fucking pill, and it'll add boobs to it. You could add legs to you can start modifying it a little bit. So now you vamped the idea of already what is already pre-existently been created, but it's also now completely different than the actual original. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, the vamp can be like you're vamping the narrative. Like for example, and that might not be an XCOM here, but it could be like somebody like a Cole. For example, one Cole last night, I was looking at the market, and the guy was like, he was like 130,000 followers. He was a Binance guy though. He's not even a Solana guy, but he said, she said something to the fact that if I'm going to create a token, it'll be in Binance and it'll be called the Jewish whale, because there's like the white whale right now. It's like 130 million or something like that, 20 million, whatever it may be. And so by him saying that, someone literally saw that tweet and was like, okay, I'm going to tokenize this tweet. So they tokenized it to create the Jewish whale, probably went to 20, 30K, even though he had nothing to do with the project, even though that he was a Binance guy, not a Solana guy. And that's called narrative. That's literally, now you can take that narrative, that link, attach it to that link profile. Now you have, your own, vamp of the banana. Boom, you create your XCOM real quick. Now you have a true vamp and not just a clone spiced up, random shitter.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So like you'd always need a X community, right?
Yeah,
Just for like success.
Yeah, and on top of that, too, not only that, first of all, XComs require a verified check, so you have to pay Elon his $5 to $9, whatever it may be, for that check, and then beyond that, once you get that check, it's bullish to have create a new X username. So don't use your current one, like that has potentially new name changes within the last month or a few months. Use a whole new one that has no name changes, so it doesn't attach you to anything that's separate from the past. That's how people are essentially creating projects these days. Even if they went to like Pepe, even if they had a multi-million-dollar project before the day, they're gonna create a new dev wallet, new Twitter verified, just so they look completely detached from anything.
Okay. No.
It's a little work, but honestly, that's the type of thing that's essentially required these days in 2026 to continually profit, even if you're rugging, because these guys that are, and for example, Kinesis, they're doing this consistently, but they got 20 to 30 projects lined up, and the way they work is they'll set up, for example, today they'll do a pre-production day. Well, they'll set up 30 to 40 wallets. They'll fund each of these wallets, and then they'll basically create like a farm. It's like almost like you're cooking up weed, but digitally. You know what I'm saying? And then the 3 or 4 days later, then you can launch because you know those wallets are seasoned. Once you have a mechanism like a workflow for this, it becomes like a 9 to 5 in a sense, but on Solana blockchain.
Okay. Yeah, I think, what do you call it? The video I saw before, like when I saw like your YouTube video, you were like on call with like one of your students or something, and that's like the first video I saw. So I think that's like the only ideas I had in my head.
No
So
worries.
it was
Yeah.
like what do you call it? He was cloning as well. It wasn't on Vortex. He was using a different bundler, but
Yeah.
he he just went and picked like a random coin, and he just like completely like cloned it and didn't change anything. So I guess I just thought like, oh, it just probably just works like that, you know?
Yeah, you know, the thing about it is like, okay, so sometimes it depends again on the narrative. Like if you have a CT coin, which is considered crypto Twitter, you might have a narrative, for example, this is a random scenario, but like let's say of Venezuela. Like for example, Venezuela recently had some situations where like Trump fucking took up the president, right? And
Yeah.
so like you can find a particular coin that has a narrative of that magnitude that essentially can be broken down and retweet and re-brought it. Because what happens is this: if a coin goes up and let's say it gets supplied crazy and the narrative's great, but the people still buy into it because the supply, they'll see that's 40%, 50% bundle, but it doesn't matter. They like want to buy it because they know the narrative is dope. Like when Trump's ear got shut off, you know, no matter what it
Yeah.
was, fucking people are buying that shit, right? Well, if it bonds and it just nigga nukes, then it's more hype to clone and revamp real quick because people that were fucked over in that project, they want to get into a lower model risk and to pump fund again and try to ride it up again. So that's the reason why to do it. But you would probably kill the XCOM on that and just say, this is a we're bringing this up, whatever, blah, 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 or just, but either way, there's a reason for these revamps. If that's the case, is because there's a case situation where someone got fucked over and they're trying to quote unquote CTO it from a pump fund perspective. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I race, That's was.